You really liked my last video about lies that we have normalized, so today we are going to continue that with more beauty-related lies that need to die. Okay, and we are starting off so strong with the first one here, is that chemicals are bad. We really have the clean beauty movement to thank for this, but the other day I was watching a video and the creator was reviewing a skincare product and her words were, "I love that this product doesn't have any chemicals in it." Doesn't have chemicals. Okay, let's humor her. I'm gonna pull this up on Sephora. The product was the Ilia Base Face Milk. So let's read through the ingredients and we'll stop once we get to a chemical. Water. Okay, done. Your products have chemicals in them. They're supposed to have chemicals in them. I think when people misuse that phrase, what they're actually trying to say is they don't have any harsh chemicals in them, but honestly, I take issue with that statement as well. There's just so much misinformation about natural ingredients being better, which is not always the case. And it's important to keep in mind that none of these phrases are regulated. What is natural? What is considered clean beauty? These are just marketing terms. There's so much fear-mongering around things like preservatives. Trust me, you want your products to have good preservatives in them. It's actually a waste of your money if they don't have good preservatives in them. Just because you can't pronounce something doesn't mean it's bad for you. Sticking with the theme of misinformation, the topic I'm the most excited to talk about in this video that I have been just dying to talk about in a video is the misinformation around supplements, because this has infused itself into beauty in the last few years. There's been this weird merge between wellness and beauty, and I'm seeing a lot of not qualified creators recommending supplements all willy-nilly, and I'm here to say not only is that perhaps a waste of your money and time, but it might also be a little bit dangerous. Far too often, I'm seeing recommendations for everyone to just hop on a supplement routine without actually consulting a physician.
Honestly, you cannot call yourself a skincare junkie if you're only prioritizing topical skincare. These are my children, and they're responsible for my glow. This here is the hair care I eat every single morning to give my hair the right nutrients so that it can be long and healthy.
My daily cocktail because my body didn't come fully assembled.
You shouldn't be taking medical advice from people that are not qualified, and that actually includes me. I am not qualified to give you medical advice, so for this video, I reached out to a doctor. I interviewed Dr. Marissa Miller, who is an internal medicine physician, but also a registered dietitian with a master's in nutrition. This is very much her expertise, and here's what she had to say about taking unregulated beauty supplements. Not only can some supplements cause harm, but if you're not actually deficient, they're unlikely to provide any benefit. Okay, let's read that back. If you're not deficient in these things, they're not going to do anything for you. It is a waste of your money. She also told me, unlike prescription medications, dietary supplements, vitamins, and minerals are not regulated by the FDA for safety or efficacy before they reach the market. Under the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act, manufacturers are responsible for ensuring their products are safe and properly labeled, but they do not have to submit evidence of safety or effectiveness to the FDA before selling them. And she warns that this regulatory gap means supplements may not always contain what they claim. She also said most people can meet their nutritional needs through a balanced diet, and deficiencies should be diagnosed by a physician. And she also wanted me to remind you that some supplements can interact with your current medications. Obviously, there is a time and a place for supplements if that's something you discuss with your doctor, but this is not advice that we should be taking from beauty influencers. I recommend thinking twice next time you see someone talking about these random supplements, these random powders that they're using, because there's a good chance it's just going to be a waste of money for you, and at worst, might actually cause more harm than good. The next one on my list is one that I used to fall for. But before we get into that, a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Dreamy, and in the theme of beauty myths, a big one is that you have to spend a lot of money to get a great result. And the proof is in my hair right now. Okay, this side of my head I styled with a very popular $550 hair dryer, and this side I styled with an option that is less than half. This is the Dreamy AirStyle Pro Hair Styler. It comes with 7 different attachments, so you can switch between different salon style looks right at home. And for this look, I used the 2 barrels to get these big bouncy waves. But my other favorites are the volumizing brush to really get a lot of volume from my bangs, and also the flyaway attachment. If you are like myself and you have a bunch of little pieces of breakage up here that tend to stick up, the flyaway attachment will help smooth those down and they're barely noticeable. There's also a cool shot option to set the curls. This is how I do my everyday curls with the auto wrap. It makes it so fast. It truly takes less than 10 minutes for me to style my full head. And I have to say, ever since getting the Dreamy, I have not touched my more expensive hairdryer option. I really prefer these barrels for doing my curls over that $550 competitor because the length is great for my long hair and I feel like it grips onto them and I'm not worried about the hair falling off. If you're interested, you can click the link below and use my code. Thank you so much to Dreamy for sponsoring this video, and let's jump back into it. Okay, number 3 on my list, the one that I have embarrassingly admitted falling for. This next lie is that a spray-on sunscreen is great for touching up. Okay. Ooh, I have said this. I, like many of us, used to live by the approach that, it's better than nothing. It's so hard to touch up your sunscreen when you're wearing makeup without completely messing up your makeup that I always thought, you know what? A spray sunscreen at least will give me a little bit of protection. I always knew in the back of my head it was nowhere near the protection I was getting out of my regular sunscreen, but every little bit helps, right? Well, my opinion on this has really changed recently thanks to Michelle from Lab Muffin Beauty Science. Love, 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 love Michelle. You've heard me talk about her before. She makes amazing content on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, if you're a fan of just like myth-busting beauty BS, I totally recommend her book. I read it earlier this year. It's phenomenal, especially if you love the science behind beauty. Highly, highly recommend it. But a point she shared recently about spray-on sunscreen was that it gives people a false sense of security. So you're at the beach, you're not reapplying, but you spray on a little bit more and you think, okay, I'm good. You're not. That spray on sunscreen, most of it is going to the ground or just in the air. Very little of it is actually going on your face. The amount of protection you're getting is negligible. You would have to do so many sprays to get the protection on the label. And the thing I've personally found with spray on sunscreens, once I've done more than a couple spritz, like my face looks greasy. There's really no world where I would actually be applying as much as I should be. But when you apply it, we think, okay, now I'm covered, or at least it's better than nothing. When in reality, a better solution might be for you to seek shade, get out of the sun, or if you can, reapply it. I used to really love a spray-on sunscreen as a concept, but now I look at them and I'm like, wow, what a waste of money. Why spend between $15 and $40 for a sunscreen spray when there are more efficacious options that we could be reaching for? Ooh, this next lie has really been making its rounds recently. This is a less broad lie, very current topical lie. And that is that the EU banned gel nail polish. That is not true. And after all these headlines were published, I've been seeing a ton of people really panicked. Oh my gosh, I use gel nails. What am I gonna do? Okay, so here's what actually happened. The EU has banned TPO, which is an ingredient commonly found in gel nail polish. And they found preliminary studies in animals to suggest that this ingredient may cause fertility issues. And I know we hear that and it's a very scary thought, but I do want to call out, important to remember that this was an animal study where the animals ingested the ingredient alone. Very different than you and I going into the nail salon and getting a gel manicure.
Reproductive health, your hormones, your health in general. Avoid gel with
This is really the most overblown banned ingredient thing so far because of how gel nails work and how EU regulations work. All nail products are made of massive long molecules called polymers. With gel, you put the chopped up bits on your nail, then you put it under UV and they join up to make these. TPO is an ingredient that starts this reaction off, it breaks down in UV, and then it can kick off the chain reaction that builds the chain. And then at the end, it is actually joined to the final polymer. Big molecules have a hard time getting through skin, they have an even harder time getting through nails, which are really dense. Pretty much nothing gets through nails except water. So absolute worst case scenario, less than 1% of the TPO is left over after you put it under UV. The only exposure you get is the tiny amount that gets on your skin for like the minute before you put it under UV. The TPO really doesn't have much chance to get into your body and cause harm. So why has the EU banned it? Well, their regulations say that any ingredient that's been found to have these effects, say in a rat study, they get banned by default. It doesn't matter how much it takes to actually have that effect. For TPO, they found that male rats had smaller cherries after they ate high amounts for 28 or 90 days. This is just so different from how you would be exposed to TPO. So number one, things don't go through nails, and number two, TPO almost immediately turns into something else that really doesn't go through nails or skin. I really don't think anyone needs to avoid TPO. By far the riskiest things in gel polish are these little blocks that can cause allergies. That is a much more real risk than TPO.
So yes, it is true that ingredient is banned in the EU, but before you panic, just realize that the headline is not the full story. Ooh, okay, this next one. Honestly, my whole list, every time I look over at it, I'm like, ooh, I hate that, I hate that, I hate that. Okay, the lie is that you can change your face shape with things like gua sha or the new Skims Contour Face Mask, or ice rollers, jade rollers, really all of the above. That's just not how facial anatomy works. Okay, and the gua sha one really gets under my skin because not only is there a lot of misinformation about how gua sha works, but then it tends to be backed up by more misinformation about what gua sha is and the origin of gua sha. Yes, it is an over 1,000-year-old practice from traditional Chinese medicine, but the original intent was not to give you a snatched jaw.
You can change your face shape with gua sha, and that's a hill that I'm willing to die on.
This is how I took my jawline from this to snatched with my gua sha routine.
This is me last month versus now. The double chin was so real. So let me show you just how I lift my jawline.
So when I see these before and afters from people saying, oh, look at this jawline I got from gua sha, I can't help but laugh because that's not how that works. Yes, a gua sha can be effective at moving fluid around, and because of that, yes, you might see some temporary kind of depuffing results, but it's not going to give you permanent results. That cannot change your bone structure or facial anatomy. So when I'm seeing these videos of like, look at my jaw 2 weeks ago compared to my jaw today after gua shaing, and I'm like, that's such BS. Like, I could sit here right now. Look at my jaw, everyone. Look at my jaw. This is me not gua shaing. Look at the jawline I have now after gua shaing for a week. Come on. Every time I see one of those before and after videos, it's always so clear that they just like moved their face or like sucked in a little bit. So it appears like there's a difference, but it's really just like the angle or the way that they're posing. I'm not a gua sha hater. I have one. I find it relaxing, but let's be realistic about the results you can expect. The people suggesting you can get permanent results, giving yourself really defined cheekbones or a sharp chiseled jaw, are straight up lying to you. Another thing that you maybe shouldn't always listen to, the directions on a skincare product. Okay, hear me out. It's not that you shouldn't, it's that you should take them with a grain of salt, especially for specific products. When it comes to, okay, you know what is the biggest culprit of this? Exfoliating products, but specifically the like liquid exfoliating toner types of products, they all seem to say on the back, use once to twice daily. Maybe if you have the most resilient skin in the world, not at all sensitive, could handle anything, maybe most people will not be able to tolerate that and probably won't find much benefit from that. Like, too much is too much. And I will even share anecdotally, the less I've done with my skincare routine, the better results that I've seen. When I was trying to do everything and incorporate every active and every ingredient, my skin was not happy. Granted, I have sensitive skin, but what I will say is a lot of times simple is better. And it is certainly possible to overdo it, and I would be very cautious with a lot of these products that are recommending using them twice a day. Yes, maybe the brand would want you to use them twice a day so you would go through them faster and buy more, but your skin probably does not want you to. Okay, this next one is maybe less in the format of a lie, but I need to talk about this because it's another one I don't think everyone understands, and it is what cosmetic products can and cannot claim. So the FDA differentiates between a drug and a cosmetic. And those two classifications go through different regulations. The FDA defines a drug as articles intended for use in the diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease. Anything that is intended to affect the structure or function of the body. For example, minoxidil has been shown to help grow your hair back. That is a drug. But if you go into Sephora looking for a serum for hair growth, you will notice the description on these products does not say will grow back hair, because they are legally not allowed to say that, because if they said that, that would be a drug. Only drugs can say that. Cosmetics have to say things like promotes the appearance of fuller hair. That's where they get you. So you'll see this on things like a lash growth serum, something you could buy at Sephora. They're never gonna say grows your lashes because they can't say that. Even if it does grow your lashes, they can't say that. They have to say promotes the appearance of fuller lashes or like something vague like that. I love talking about all these beauty related lies because not only does it help stop misinformation, which is rampant in this space, but it also saves your wallet. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, it'll be linked right here. And thank you again to Dreamy for sponsoring today's video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.